Are you a practice owner, practice manager? Do you ever feel like there isn't just any more time, not a single more minute in the day in your schedule to work on your business instead of in your business? You are spread so thin, pulled in 100 different directions, right? Constantly putting out fires and really just trying to survive the day, that you never get to your to-do list, right? I'm talking about the things that you know that you need to get done in order to grow, in order to scale, in order to one day allow your business to make money for you while you're not there, right? God forbid you get sick or you want to go on vacation. You need to win back time. You need not to be an overworked employee in your own business. As a result, you can grow, you can scale, right? Because every day I talk to business owners and practice managers that are spread so thin. And a lot of times these calls have a lot of tears happening, right? That they are feeling overwhelmed and anxiety, and that they see opportunity being left on the table. And that their growth has been stagnant, like that they have hit a ceiling over and over again. And their expenses are going up, and they're working harder, but they are not seeing the fruits of their labor. And so today I want to talk to you about how do you duplicate yourself, right? How are you able to scale your practice without being the one that wears every single hat, right? And to do that, you have to be strategic. You have to be a delegator. You have to build systems, and you have to build your team. So as you prepare for the new year, I want to help you to go from feeling overwhelmed to empowered. I want you to feel like that you're not just leaving revenue or opportunity on the table, but that you are winning back your time, right? That you're really spending your time in your zone of genius, and you are seeing your business grow, right? Scale. That is what you are after, and you are doing it with ease. So let's break down some of the things that you need to do in order to achieve that, to duplicate yourself so that you can grow and scale. Okay, let's dive in. So the very first thing is, and this is a perfect time of year to be doing it, is really to clarify what is the vision that you have for your business, for yourself, and what are those main priorities that you're after in order to achieve that vision. And to do that, you'll really want to define what you want your role to be, right? Right now, you're wearing all the different hats, but you need to get really clear and identify all the areas where you truly are the expert, right? You truly are the only one that can do these specific things, right? And what is that? What high level activity do you need to be focusing your energy on? Is it seeing patients? Is it the marketing? Is it relationship building? Is it training? Is it the financials and KPIs? Is it mentoring and coaching your team? Is it building the brand, right? What is it that you need to be doing to get you to that next level? And to set really clear goals, right? So what is it that you want to achieve? Do you want to open more locations? How much more revenue do you want to increase by? Do you want to increase your profit margin? Do you want to expand services? Do you want to build a team, right? You got to get really clear on what is it that you want to do and really visualize your day and what that's going to look like in order to achieve it. Okay. So the next thing is you got to build a team. You cannot be the only person in your movie, right? It's going to prevent your growth. You're going to hit that invisible ceiling if you try to do it all of yourself. And so you have to hire the right people. And so I really encourage you to start with, an admin or assistant type role that's going to help you get more from yourself and or your top performers, right? And why I like to start there first is because instead of hiring another injector, maybe you get an MA that helps them to be able to turn the rooms faster so that they can see more patients, right? Instead of going straight to a practice manager, maybe you start with an admin or an assistant, right? Or delegate some of these tasks to a front desk so that you are freeing up time to create, which is the next step that I'm going to be talking about, document your processes in your systems, right? So that when you go to hire that multi-million-dollar practice manager, that's your number two that you can really rely on. That when you go to hire that very expensive, experienced injector to add into your practice, you have the systems to set that new team member up for success, that you're just not figuring it out once you hire them, right? And so that's why I like to start first with that admin or assistant for both of those key roles, and then really help to get your onboarding, your training, your systems, all of those together. And then you're ready to invest in that top talent. So continuation of document your processes. Okay, so of course we talked about SOPs and instructions for the day-to-day operations, and I'm not just talking about the bare minimum that you have to have for compliance. I'm talking about really what you have to have to run the business at a full capacity, scale, optimized, right? Hitting your revenue per hour, your utilization rates, your rebooking rates, all of those things, right? And really documenting what that looks like. What are the revenue generating activities that all your team needs to be doing to contribute to that? I love utilizing software and organizational tools or project management tools, Google Doc, ClickUp, or Asana, and to be able to automate project management or some of that communication that we find that we're chasing after people, right? Every single day, same thing over and over again. And you want to get good in utilizing software with inventory management, your CRM or your scheduling software. There's so many good tools in there, but rarely do I meet a practice owner that truly uses all of the cool bells and whistles that their EMR has to offer. Yesterday, I spoke to a practice manager that the first 2 hours of their day, they're literally going and assigning tasks to their team members of what it is that they are responsible for doing at the beginning of the day. And she told me that a lot of times it's the same tasks that they're responsible for doing every single day. And then she finds herself chasing them through the day, wanting to get updates if they got it done, because if she doesn't, they don't get it done. And that's whoa, right? We got to do things differently, right? And this is a high performing practice. This practice is doing $900,000 a month. Yes, a month, not a year, a month. And she is still doing things the hard way, chasing after her employees. So if you're someone that's just doing $900,000 a year, let alone a month, feeling like you're chasing after employees, if you don't have the right systems and processes and leadership and culture built, you're going to be doing the same things, chasing after people. So you want to utilize technology, software, AI. If you are interested in learning more about AI, we got an AI guru on our team, Abby, who is obsessed with making her life and her clients' life easier, utilizing AI in project management to get operational systems done with consistency to really duplicate those top performers. So ask us more about that if that's something of interest to you. All right, the next thing is to learn how to delegate effectively, right? So I often find that people, when they start to delegate, they just rip off the Band-Aid, they throw a task to someone, and it's like sink or swim, right? And what happens is they get disappointed, or the person screws up because we didn't really set them up for success, or we're constantly micromanaging them. And then what happens is we just take it back. And then we wear this badge of honor that, see, I told you no one could do it like I do it, right? And so I'm just going to keep doing it begrudgingly, right? And the truth of the matter is that oftentimes we don't create the right processes that have the core components of a successful system in order to set a person up for success, so you don't have to take it back, so you don't have to micromanage, so that you can get the consistent result that you are after. So once you build that system, then you have to, of course, trust that they're going to do it, but you absolutely still have to verify, right? So regularly review their work and provide feedback, right? Constructive feedback, positive feedback to get that consistent result that you're after. And you really have to empower your team and allow them to make decisions in their role, right? So you want to reduce their resilience, or them having to have you to make a decision, right? You want to empower them to really own their own role. And that's not only going to win you back more time, but that's going to create a higher performer on your team and allow you more time to, the next point is, develop training programs. And there's so many components of developing training programs within your practice, right? It starts with onboarding training, shadowing, mentoring, and then advanced certifications and trainings. And it's a lifetime continuous evolvement of learning, right? Of having that growth mindset, and not just be about getting better at, doing injections or firing the laser, but what about confidence training? What about communication training or team training, right? Financial training, social media training. There's so many different types of training that is 100% worthwhile in investing in. So don't be narrow focused of it's only, actual didactics of doing a treatment type of skills training. That's absolutely important, but there's so many different types of training that you should and need to be investing for yourself and for your team. And constantly being able to evaluate and streamline your client experience. And why this is so important is because that's going to help you to continue to grow and scale, right? Because if you start to move your attention away from client experience and results, and working on other things, then oftentimes what happens is results start to go, right? You start to get bad reviews. You start to get patients that don't come back, that aren't spending as much money with you. And so, all of that other time and energy isn't going to do you good if all of a sudden you have a crappy patient experience or aren't getting the results that you are used to. So you want to use, technology to be able to implement loyalty programs, online forms, and follow-up processes, right? To re-engage past patients to come in again and again. And really ensure that your team is following the, standard procedures on how we do consults here, how we recommend packages, or how we recommend our membership, how we utilize patient financing, right? And I love a secret shopper. I love a secret shopper because your staff will be like, oh yeah, I'm doing that, right? But then when you actually get in there and listen to them, oftentimes it is unfortunately a different case, right? And sometimes it's not, them being misleading. They don't even realize that they're not doing it, right? So utilize a secret shoppers. I love, love, love that tool. And you want to monitor feedback from your patients and also your team as well, because I promise you, they have very strong opinions about client experience, about the way you run your business, they have strong opinions about everything, right? And that can be valuable feedback that you can utilize to make adjustments and decisions when you gather that from multiple sources. You also have to be willing. You have to be willing to outsource when you need to, right? Again, you can't do everything, you guys. It's just not possible. I mean, you can try, but you are not going to be the thriving multi-million-dollar practice that you can be without feeling just anxious and overwhelmed. In fact, I had talked to a med spa a couple weeks ago where, again, she's doing $250,000 a month in revenue out of one location. And she's like, and her profit margin was one of the best that I've seen in a really long time. Really, really good profit margin. She was making a ton of money, but literally she like cries on her drive into work every single day. She wants to sell her business. She hates it, right? And she's just spread too thin, right? And it's just not possible for her to do it all herself. And so that's when you need to start outsourcing. I always say, if you don't have the time, if you don't have the desire, or you don't have the know withal, then you need to outsource. Maybe that's your marketing. Maybe that's your bookkeeping. Maybe that's your HR. Maybe that's legal, right? You got to figure it out. What is your strengths? What is taking your emotional energy that's preventing you from scaling? The next thing that you need to do is you got to know your numbers. You got to monitor KPIs and benchmarks and make adjustments as needed, right? So when you know your numbers, you can set your goals, right? And when you set your goals, you can set your benchmarks and KPIs of the activity that you know that you have to hit in order to achieve those goals. So that's why we like to reverse engineer. Like once we know what we want to do, then we can reverse engineer what activity has to be done in order to achieve those metrics, right? Those numbers. And that's going, you'll want to focus on, of course, when you're looking at revenue, what key performance indicators we know are going to contribute to that, right, is rebooking rates, scheduling utilization, right? Revenue per hour by provider, right? Also looking at your service mix and your profit margin on that service mix. I can't tell you how many times we are talking to clients of like, why are you even offering that service, right? It's not worth your time. In fact, I think you're losing money when you're looking at how much a room and a provider is making you an hour. Some of the services that you are offering is actually losing your money. You're like, oh, but they want it. They love it. They'll go somewhere else. Well, you have to think about what services are in the best interest of your client. And I understand it's not all about profit margin, right? Sometimes it's a complement or an add-in, but at the end of the day, it should very heavily be about that profit margin. And then secondly, you can look is like, really, is that going to impact the experience and or result at the end of the day? Okay, and the last thing is that you have to continue to grow as a leader. This is where I was seeing something the other day that they're like, they were talking about oftentimes providers are owners of their practices, and they're telling providers, you got to learn how to be an entrepreneur. And I heard that, and it made me think about, I just wanted to immediately challenge that because, yes, I think that having a mindset of an entrepreneur is good. Like that's going to help you get to your first, 6 figures a month. But what is going to help you get to multi-million-dollar status, help you to get $4, $5, $6, $10 million a year in revenue, is that you have to think like a CEO, not an entrepreneur, not just an entrepreneur. Because an entrepreneur, they're thinking about, okay, what is the next like package that I can roll out so I can get sales this month, right? And those things are good. Those things are important. Having an entrepreneur mindset is important. And I can speak from experience in myself and my journey of building a multi-million-dollar business, is that I went from a doer, right, to an entrepreneur, right? And then as I really saw the transition into becoming a CEO and how different I approached managing my team, how different I approached what my schedule looked like during the day of what I was working on. How when I was consuming information to learn a new skill set, and then as an entrepreneur, just go and do it. Now, as a CEO, when I learn a new skill set, I'm shouting it from the rooftops. I'm telling my team, I'm telling my clients, right? And that's the difference between being an entrepreneur to try to learn how to just make more money today or this month, right? Of really trying to grow your empire. And that didn't happen overnight. That didn't happen by just getting good at ads or getting good at hiring consultants on, my team. It really evolved over the years, and I had to level up my mindset. I had to work on my leadership skills and mentorship skills and educate myself and get really clear on what vision I wanted to have for my business. And when I talk to practices that are doing $5-6+ million a year, they're not just providers, they're not entrepreneurs, they are CEOs building their empire. And everything that I talked about today are the activity and skills and thinking that you need to do in order to achieve that. And it doesn't happen overnight. So I want to give you just some food for thought as you're thinking about the new year and what that could look like and breaking that down. Because all the things that I talked about can't just be done overnight, right? And so if it were me, this is something that, might serve you well. Yes, you could just, stop everything, drop everything, and dive all into this. Sure, absolutely, right? But we know that's not possible. And so if you're game planning here, in the first, quarter of the year, I would really focus on documenting your processes, learning how to better delegate. And before you delegate, you got to make sure that you're setting your team up for success, right? Start getting rid of some of those admin tasks. And I know right now you think you're the only one who can do it, but I promise you that's not the case, right? And begin to look at and plan, what are the key positions that I'm going to have to hire for in the new year, right? And then begin building those systems and accountability and leadership so that when you bring those team members on, you're really setting them up for success. So in second quarter, I dive all in, and you're ready now to prepare, staff, right, with fine tuning the training and leveling that up, maybe refining your operations, because now that you've documented everything, all your systems and operations, now you're ready for a little fine tuning once you get it down on paper and it's out of your mind, right? And maybe you start outsourcing or at least creating SOPs in-house if you do some in-house marketing, right? Like your email newsletter, maybe your website or something, or your organic social media. Two choices: either begin outsourcing it so you can do it better or more consistently, right? Or you continue to do it in-house, but you have much better processes, much better tracking, right? Much better consistency. So at the end of the day, you get a much better result. And then in fourth quarter, then you really can shift your attention to scaling, right? And what that looks like, because you've set the foundation. So now you're ready to scale, right? And what does that look like? Maybe it's adding new services, whole new service department, right? Maybe it's expanding locations. Maybe it's turning a storage room into another treatment room. Maybe it's buying a device. Maybe it's giving more hours or more days to a team member. You have to think about, okay, what is it that is going to either win back more of my time or generate more revenue at the end of the day? Okay, I can go ahead and open up the floor if there are any questions. But in essence, right, really systemizing your operations and focusing on investing and building your team is what is going to get you to the next level, because you can't do it all yourself, right? So you want to focus on being a strategic leader, putting on that CEO mindset, right? And that is when you're going to shift from just like, oh, we had a good month this month because I had a really good idea on this event or on this package or on this sales promo, or I did this one, in-house contest with my team, right? And transition into really scaling, winning back your time, taking your team and your business to new heights, right? All right, guys, thanks so much for joining me here. If you love this training, share it with your team or another med spa that could benefit. And you can always catch the replay on our YouTube channel. And to get access to more free trainings, make sure you visit our link tree in our bio and catch us live every single week, same time, same place on Wednesdays, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram. Thanks, guys, so much. Have an awesome day.